Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, the old curmudgeon and I are back. How's it going, Ken?
Going well, Armando. How are you?
Oh, I'm just ducky. Just ducky.
Quack,
Wonderful.
quack. Okay, good.
Yes, yes. There they go now. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken and I are back with another episode of Band Spotlight. We've been focusing on Led Zeppelin, talking about each one of their albums in chronological order. And we are back with episode 6. We're going to be taking a look at Physical Graffiti, their double album opus, people refer to it as. There's a lot of information going to go through here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to get through it. Physical Graffiti, released on February 24th, 1975, through the band's own label Swan Song, distributed through Atlantic Records, respectively. This is the band's first release on their own label. Swan Song would go on to sign such acts as Bad Company, The Pretty Things, Dave Edmunds, just to name a few. Physical Graffiti was recorded in stages between 1970 and 1974, and those dates are July and December of 1970, July through March of 1971, May of 1972, and January to February of 1974. Recorded at Headley Grange using Ronnie Lane's mobile studio. Album, of course, produced by Jimmy Page, keeping it all in house. There was one single released from Physical Graffiti, that single being The Ass Shaking Trampled Underfoot, backed with Black Country Woman. The album, upon release, hit number one in the US, Canada, the UK, and number two in Australia, going 16 times platinum, selling 8 million copies eventually. The album has a massive playing time, massive, huge, of 82 minutes and 59 seconds. Why not just say 83 minutes? What the hell? It's like, and there's a lot of information to go through here. Okay, now the first attempt by Led Zeppelin to record songs with Physical Graffiti took place in November of 1973 at Headley Grange in Hampshire, England, when they had to stop, uh, suddenly due to John Paul Jones coming down ill from fatigue, we do believe. And it was noted afterwards that he actually approached Peter Grant about possibly leaving the group because he was at that point disillusioned with the band. And Peter Grant told him to take the rest of the year off and really think about what he wanted to do. Obviously, he didn't want him to leave the group. But Hilly Grange was also where the band previously recorded the Untitled album. It's also the fourth album, whatever you want to call it. Those recording sessions that were aborted in November of 73 were turned over to Bad Company so that they could record their debut release coming out in 75. Now, with regards to the album's music, we have 15 tracks in total, but there were other, there's a lot of styles going on in this album. And from the notes I have here, according to the notes, the album spanned several years of recording and covers a range of musical styles, including hard rock with songs like Custard Pie and The Rover and the Wonton Song and Sick Again. Also, Houses of the Holy. You have songs that have Eastern influences with Eastern influence. Start again. Eastern influenced orchestral rock with songs like Kashmir, progressive rock with songs like In the Light, driving funk, or as I call it, ass shaking boogie, with Trampled Underfoot, and acoustic rock and roll with songs like Boogie with Stu, also Black Country Woman, uh, ballads like 10 Years Gone, and blues rock with In My Time of Dying. Soft rock is also included on the album with Down by the Seaside, one of my favorites, and a country rock romp called Night Flight, and an acoustic instrumental called Brawny R. That's the only way I can pronounce that name. I don't know. And Brawny R was featured as the intro music on the song on the film. The song remains the same. That is a lot of information to go through. My ass is tired, actually, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I get into my opinion of this album, Ken, what is your view and history with Physical Graffiti?
Okay. I bought this album maybe I think around 6 months after it was released. High school, of course. The and actually this was the first Led Zeppelin album I bought. Um, because where I lived, I had other friends that had the albums. By that time, it was the dawn of AOR radio, and there was a new radio station relatively nearby that we could get. And one of the nice things about radio stations back then is one, they program their own music. And second, for a new radio station, they didn't have a very big album archive. So what they did play, they tended to, play two or three or maybe a whole side of an album at once. Um, that's how I first heard Who's Next and
Really
um,
interesting.
and Dark Side of the Moon. Especially late at night. They'd put it on, let the side play, and then while they're flipping it over, they do a radio ID, and mention the time or whatever. Then they play the second side, and then the DJ would just, go off and smoke pot or whatever they did. And so I don't remember what it was that prompted me um, to buy this album myself, but I remember it very well because since um, not having to hear the albums at friends' house, hey, first of all, it's a double album. I think I got it at a decent price. It might have been through Columbia House. I don't know, but I don't remember. But I miss the days when you buy an album, you put it on the turntable, and while you're imbibing in the music, you sit there and you read the albums, the back cover, the liner notes, the insides.
I did the
And
same
I just,
thing.
yeah, and I just remember playing both of the albums in this set over and over and over again. Um, and yeah, it's one of my favorite double albums of all time for sure. Um, it's hard for me to rate what my favorite Led Zeppelin album is because there's something on every one that is
Yeah,
just absolutely gold. Um,
I get it.
but some people think that this would have made a better single album. Um, some songs are better than others. It should go without saying, but you know, a lot of people need to hear it. Just because a song isn't as good as another doesn't mean it's not a good song. But regardless, I do think it's interesting of several tracks, that weren't recorded for this album. Recorded in sessions going all the way back to Led Zeppelin 3.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
3, 4, and Houses of the Holy. We've got tracks from this recording sessions of those, and you're right. There's so many different styles on here, which is quite indicative of the albums before it too.
Yeah.
But with two platters worth of music, it really does expand that. It's very broad as far as that. They take advantage of that time, and yeah, you've got sections here where you've got 5 or 6 songs in sequence that are all tens. You know,
Okay.
so I think that's wh- I do know some people that they think that that's why if it had been trimmed down, it would have been an absolutely perfect single album, and
Yeah.
maybe so. But it's like I don't know what I would cut.
Well,
So
that's
and I wouldn't.
exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, apparently they had recorded 8 songs,
Hmm.
which Robert Plant referred to them as the belters.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
powerhouse right through
Hmm.
them. And um a couple of them were lengthy tracks. In My Time of Dying, 11 minutes,
Yeah.
4 seconds.
Hmm.
And obviously they had other songs that I don't want to use. And if I use the term pad out the album, I don't want to make it sound
Yeah.
like it's like, filler, because they're
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah.
Um, but you're right. Some songs are better than others. What I noticed is the drum sound on this album. It is massive. That snare just kicks you right in the ass, when you
Hmm.
hear, and it doesn't matter what track, whether it's Custard Pie, The Rover, in my time of dying. Oh my God, that is Bigfoot,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, set to music. That is boom, 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 boom. That is just like right in your face.
Yeah. And
Um,
the bass drum in well throughout the album, but especially on Black Country Woman,
yeah,
the bass drum is just it's almost like they used one of the large symphony orchestra bass. It's just got such a huge booming sound.
yeah,
It's amazing.
and I mean, it's funny that for me, they chose one of the more ass-shaking R&B tinged tracks for a single, Trampled Underfoot, backed with Black Country Woman. When you hear that section, is that clavinet that he was playing?
Clavinet, yeah.
My God, I'm thinking Stevie Wonder talking book or Intervisions. I'm thinking like, and then when the drums kick in, right in the ass, boom, you're off and
Yeah.
running. It's like oh my God, and
Hmm.
they're in the pocket
Oh
between
yeah.
Bonham and Jones. They're in the pocket, man. They're like follow this, guys. Boom.
Sure. And not just that, but
Like,
when Robert Plant comes in with the lead vocals, he's got some serious rasp
oh
in
yeah,
his voice that just really,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's amazing. T- yeah, to me, that was an obvious choice because it just, yeah, there's so many pockets in this song.
Oh my God. I mean, and then to follow that up with, let me just quickly go through a bit of the set list here. Starts off with
Please.
Custard Pie. Okay. Then you go into The Rover.
Mhm.
Okay. Which is one of the outtakes from House of the Holy. Then you've got In My Time of Dying, a new track, you know, for the session. Then you get the title track from House of the Holy. Then Trample Underfoot. For me, side 1 and 2 is like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and it's just like one after the other.
Yeah.
Um, and then after Trample Underfoot, you go into We're Going on a Trip to Kashmir, and it's like, what am I hearing here? You know, I know that Jeff Martin of the Tea Party said that to him. Uh, Kashmir was to him their pinnacle. Like they couldn't do at that point. They couldn't do any better than Kashmir. What is your view of that?
I'm, I feel on X, there's a lot of posts, and engagement saying, what is your favorite song by whatever band, by your favorite band? And I
Yeah,
think if you've got a favorite band, it's impossible to choose just one song for the best. I would say the same thing about Led Zeppelin, but if I was pushed in a corner, it would be Kashmir. It would be Kashmir. It's not indicative of everything they do best, but this um, the East, it's so typical of a lot of things. The Eastern influences in the songwriting and arrangements. It uses it's got that incredible ongoing guitar riff. Um, it's not so much melody driven as chord progression driven.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, but yet it's simple. You've got mellotron, you've got strings, and you've got brass. All of this arranged by John Paul Jones,
Yeah.
arranged absolutely perfectly,
Yeah.
and it just it manages to constantly build without crossing the line. It I don't know. It's an absolutely brilliant and magical song.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I was pushed in a corner and said you have to choose one, this would be it. I'm amazed every time I listen to it.
Mm. I I not that I've been asked, but if I was to choose, I would be a tie between, and I've gained a new appreciation for this song. It would be between, I mean, obviously, okay, Trembling Underfoot, Ass Shaker. Want to talk about love? Let's go. Let's talk about love.
Hmm.
Um, it would, but if I was to choose, it would be between both Cashmere and In the Light.
Yeah, those are two obvious ones.
Yeah.
I would also include personally in my time of dying. Personally,
Okay.
um, oh yeah, and other than that, 10 years gone. That guitar opening on 10 years gone. When I first heard it, I was mesmerized. It's like I got to learn how to play this,
Okay.
and I struggled a little bit. I was young. I hadn't been playing guitar very long, but yeah, it's mystic, it's melancholy. Um, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. No, I know what you
so yeah,
mean.
I know I agree with you 100% on this.
No. Yeah, and even okay, we talked about the ones that that are our favorites. You had said before we started taping that this wasn't a perfect album,
Right.
right? Right, and we all know there's a difference between our favorite albums and a perfect album. There's a
Mhm,
difference there.
mhm.
Are there any songs on the flip side of the coin that we talked about songs that stand out? Are there any songs that you're like, okay, I get what they're trying to do here, but yeah, it isn't really
Um,
my cup of tea, as it were.
Coyote, yeah. Um, I like the Rover, but it's not one of my favorites. There's a lot that I like about Night Flight, but that uh, it's just got a little bit too much of a country music tinge to it for
Okay.
me to really get into. But other than Sick Again is a great closer, but it's not something that I would, ooh, I need to hear Sick Again, you know.
Yeah.
But but yeah, but the rest of them, you know, Boogie Stew with Ian Stewart on piano, it's just a fun song.
Yeah.
Um, I love the acoustic work on Black Country Woman, and like I said, that bass drum is just driving it through. Um, it's like living downstairs from a frat party
Yeah.
in the apartment above you. Um, but yeah, down by the seaside. I read somewhere that it was. supposedly inspired by Neil Young. I don't know what the story is behind that.
I'm not sure. I think I heard that as well. It's funny how you mentioned Down by the Sea. Said I like that song. I like its shimmering guitar
Yes,
that comes in. That
that tremolo guitar. Yeah,
yeah, tremolo guitar. That's right. It kind of gives you it does to me. It does sort of paint a picture of sitting by the shore
it does.
and just watching the waves, like on a
Hmm.
crystal. Like when you see the light bounce off the waves, that's like
Yeah,
yeah, it's like a nice sunny morning, and you're just
yeah.
sort of
And it's got that drum shuffle.
yeah,
And then at
yeah,
2 minutes and 7 seconds, the sharks come out.
yeah. It kicks in. Yeah, exactly, exactly. You're in the scene from Jaws. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
How
Yeah, it
complete.
breaks into that straight rock.
Yeah,
And that middle section is so nice.
yeah.
It's so incredibly melodic. The guitar parts are wonderful.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. It's like
No,
the longer I listen to Led Zeppelin, the more layers I peel back.
really. After all this time.
Really, yeah, seriously. And this
Yeah,
album has a lot of really great slide guitar work. And one thing that occurred to me when I was making my notes for this is that on Custard Pie, a great opener,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it sets kind of a mood with that clavinet that he uses there. Jones uses there because he used it in at least two other tracks on the album. So
yeah.
it's kind of a little bit of a thread that goes through. But I don't remember Jimmy Page using a wah wah pedal that much because
Okay.
it really stood out in the latter part of this song. He was using the wah pedal. And it's like, okay, so I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper into that rabbit hole um, because I can't immediately
Yeah.
think of him using a wah pedal, at
I
least much. So, but anyway,
no, but
just
that's yeah, but that's just it. Like you, I mean, when you hear an album that you like and you keep listening to it, you're gonna at some point start listening to things that you didn't recognize before, and then, like you said, peeling back an onion, like you're sort of
yeah, yeah,
peeling back the layers, and like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I know what they're
yeah.
doing with this, and but that's a sign of a good album
Oh, I think so.
for me, you know.
Yet there are
But
songs on here that are just boom, simple and rocking.
yeah, yeah. It's I will say I agree with you on the newer stuff, on the more recent stuff, like that was recorded at Headley Grange in
Hmm.
'74, like Custard Pie, and In My Time of Dying. When Robert Plant goes for the guttural vocal,
Hmm.
he doesn't let up. He goes for
Yeah,
the throat, so to speak, and he just like wrings out every ounce of sweat,
yeah.
of tears, of blood that he can muster in order to get the emotion across to the listener as to the message he's trying to convey in the song. I think it's amazing. I think it's
Oh,
amazing.
absolutely.
Amazing. Um,
Absolutely. And one thing I really paid attention. I mean, I knew there were songs from, the different recording sessions, but I specifically paid attention when making my notes because it's interesting to hear those songs in context to the albums they were originally recorded for.
Intended for, yeah. Yeah, I get
And
it.
and especially for instance, Broniar was recorded during the Led Zeppelin 3. Duh. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
For the other songs that were on Led Zeppelin 3. And it's like, okay, all right. Down by the Seaside. I can see the connection between that and Led Zeppelin 4. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, all right, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, the albums are still part of the songs are still part of this album, of course. Um, One of the songs that always amazes me is, and you mentioned it before, In the Light.
Hmm.
It starts off with that drone, that
Yeah.
Eastern music drone,
Yeah.
and that little contrapuntal bass line played on the clavinet.
Yeah. The panning effect too, from
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
right to
yeah.
left and right. Yeah.
And the vocals don't enter into a minute until a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's got that really interesting phased um, uh, vocal duet,
Yeah.
the harmonized two part,
Yeah. The
and
double
it's run
tracked.
through, yeah, and it's run through, that phase effect. Very atmospheric,
Hmm.
very atmospheric, and then not long out, and then I think it's around 240, 245. Then the
Hmm.
rest of the band comes in, and here again, just drums, just breaking the wall down.
Yeah. And then yeah, very very little guitar, or very
Yeah,
tastefully done guitar on certain passages that come in.
yeah, just a simple riff
Yeah.
at any given time. And to me, this song is a good example of psychedelic prog
Yeah.
for me.
I can see
That's
that.
and yeah, I love that atmosphere and the mood this sets in.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just mm. It's mm.
No, it's a good album. It's a good album. I can't really add much to what you said because there is so much going on here. And I remember as a kid, my again, Mario had the album. Of
Hmm.
course, he when I went to listen to, side one, you know, for some reason there was a big scratch on the vinyl. I'm like, I said to him, I didn't do this. He goes, no, 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 I did. It's an old album. Don't worry about it. But so when I would hear in my time of dying, there would be like, those ticks and pops
Yeah.
all the way through it. So I couldn't hear a concise, clean version of it. But when I heard it on CD for the first time, I was like, the light went on. Okay, now I get it. This is it, and it is just bombastic. It is huge.
Hmm.
This is Bigfoot coming through your front door and leaving nothing behind, kind of a thing. It's like bum bum bum
Yeah.
bum. It's just like
Yeah.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this album, when I was younger, it kind of scared me because it was a double album. I didn't know, I couldn't make heads or tails of it
Okay.
musically, right? But as I got
That makes
older
sense.
and fatter myself, and as I got older and fatter, and I understood it more. I understood where this album sat within the canon of Zeppelin,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
It's
this
it's
is good.
got yeah, it's got like I say, John Paul Jones, really brings a whole nother dimension with his keyboard playing, where it's the clavinet or the Hammond organ in Night Flight,
Yeah,
and it's just I can't even imagine what Zeppelin would have been if he had a left.
you know,
We definitely wouldn't have had a in through the outdoor.
no, no,
Sure.
and as much as again into the outdoor, which we'll get into
Hmm.
in a couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, as much as people sort of say that album is not a proper Zeppelin album because of its style,
No.
it still has to me this all the elements. I mean, yes, Page and Bonham did discuss going back to more of a harder rocking album, and that's fine. But I wouldn't discount Into the Outdoor as I wouldn't classify it as an inferior album.
I
It's
certainly
just
wouldn't.
a different side of the band, a
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
facet of the
Mhm.
band.
Well, they had a
Uh,
different driver for that album. John Paul Jones had to step up
yeah,
and take more of a leadership position in that.
yeah,
That's not to say that Jimmy Page's presence is not there. It definitely is.
yeah,
Just and his playing is fantastic. I love the In Through the Outdoor.
yeah,
Um, but it just gave, I think maybe for a lot of people, a little bit more accessibility possibly to the band,
yeah,
which is okay with me. Like I said, I love the album. There again, it's not perfect, but I love it regardless.
yeah,
Um, and I remember being I remember the record store I bought it from
yeah.
back then.
Hmm.
And but anyway, here again, uh, if there hadn't, oh boy, I can't help but think of Led Zeppelin in the same way I think of the Who,
Okay.
where you've got four incredible musicians all bringing their A game at the same time, always.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and so it's not surprising when you got Robert Plant and Jimmy Page for Jones and Bonham to kind of uh, become overshadowed a bit.
Yeah,
Um, Not so much Bonham because the drums are always so much in the forefront and
yeah,
just
the,
so incredibly mixed and booming. Um, uh, so it might be different in other parts of the country and the world, but to me, John Paul Jones has always seemed to be a little bit pushed to the side.
yeah.
But God, how do you compete in a band like that? I don't mean to use that they were competing. I don't mean that
No,
at
no,
all.
no, no. But how do you find your niche? Like, how do you find your place
Sure.
within that band structure when you have a charismatic frontman, you've
Mhm.
got that you have a guitarist that lived, breathed, and ate the guitar. Basically, the guitar was just like another limb that he
Mhm.
used to express himself with,
Yeah.
very majestically and very down and dirty at times, but potent nonetheless.
Yeah.
And when you have a drummer that has it that is just so massive in his stage presence and his presence overall in terms of
Mhm.
his charisma and just ability on the drums. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, Plant has said, you know, Bonham had a lot of sex in his playing and a
Mhm.
lot of swagger and attitude, and it
Yeah.
shows here. So
Yeah. Bonham was somewhat of a mixture um, of Ginger Baker and Keith Moon. He had the bombast of Keith Moon, but he had those incredible rhythmic chops of Ginger Baker.
mm,
Not necessarily, I don't mean that as far as Ginger Baker jazz playing,
yeah,
but uh, just so many times Bonham comes in and it's not just a bada bada boom. It's got some kind of strange little skipping feel in his rhythm that makes you question where the downbeat is. And that can be really quite mind blowing. We were talking about Houses of the Holy, um, where the meter in several parts was instead of being in 4/4 or 3/4 or 2/4, it was in 7/8.
yeah,
Where the beat is actually the eighth note, which is crazy when it comes to counting rhythms in rock and roll.
yeah,
Um, and it's just It's just mind blowing to me
Well,
as a musician.
yeah, I would say that there's a lot of intuition, let's say,
Mhm.
in his playing and
Mhm.
Bono's playing, in that he knew what what measure was needed for a certain
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
and he
Also,
just delivered it.
yeah, he did, and also because, and I think one of the best examples is the Wanton song here. Like I said, he Bonham was playing to what Page was playing, not what Jones was playing. Because in the
Yeah,
normal rhythm section of bass and drums, they're always together.
yeah,
Um, well, not everybody, but
the
that's the
general rule.
common, that's the
That's
general rule.
yeah,
But like I said, on Wanton song is a good example. Other places on this album, and the other albums too, um, some of those complex rhythms that Jimmy Page is playing, Jones is going along with him, which gives those incredible guitar riffs extra punch.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just it's, it's just amazing. And like I
Yeah,
said, the way that Page layers these guitar parts are uh, so subtle
yeah.
and so incredibly creative
Hmm.
because he's not just doubling a guitar part. He's playing something completely different.
No, he's playing counter melody.
He's counter melodies and mixing acoustic and electric and sometimes 6 and 12 strings.
Yeah,
And he literally is using the studio in his recording and arrangements, very similar to orchestral arrangements. And because everything has its own identity, he's not just doubling something,
no,
and
it's true.
that's what makes his sound so lush and
Hmm.
so full, and so things hit you, but oftentimes it's difficult to identify what it is because it'll be something that's kind of subtle and creeping in to your ear unconsciously.
That's right.
And that works especially with the the Middle Eastern tonalities too.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm rambling, but
No, it's fine.
it's
It's
just
fine.
it's fascinating. I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely fascinating, and my ears love it. So
Okay. Well, I really can't add any more than what you've added, because I mean, we've to go through the album track by track would be like, okay, how do we pick our favorites? Like picking your favorite kid. But obviously other songs are going to have more attention paid to them than
yeah,
others. But it doesn't mean that the album as a whole is a great album, and the album as a whole is a great album. There are
yeah,
more hits than misses
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
on this album.
And like I always say, even the worst Led Zeppelin song is better than most other artists' best songs. So there you have it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Uh, Band Spotlight on Led Zeppelin featuring Physical Graffiti, the band's sixth release. I want to ask this question.
Yes.
I won't ask this of you because, again, this would be like, giving up your favorite child. I mean, I could do it because that's just me. But there's been talk, ladies and gentlemen, of that this album should have been a single disc release. Let me put this out there to you, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at this track list, you know where I'm going, don't you? What tracks would you cut from the 15 that are present on this release? Would you keep it as an entire batch of new songs? Sorry, or would you include the songs that were recorded between 1970 and 1972. Okay. Uh, Let us know what you think. I know
Yep.
my answer. And I do believe I know Ken's answer. He won't answer because he knows better than that to get in that bear trap. But let me put this out there. Looking at this release, looking at Physical Graffiti, would you, as a fan, cut this album down from its original 15-track running order to a single disc release? And if so, what would you cut? It's not that easy. Take a look, give it a shot.
I have a question.
Yes.
If, and this is for our friends out there, if you had to compile a single album greatest hits and you wanted to include songs from each of the albums,
Mhm.
considering the length of a lot of their songs, you probably could only choose one song.
Per
Which would
album.
it be per
Yeah.
album? Which would it be off of this one?
Ooh.
And if you want to go farther, please put in the comments below what, one song from each album. What would you choose and make a lineup of your greatest hits?
That'd be good. That'd be really good. That'd be
It'd be a good discussion to have.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Also, do the same thing over on X in our channel on X, the Music Den.
That's right. That's right.
Music Den on YT. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for the plug. We
Sure.
need all that we can get. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, another episode on Band Spotlight featuring Led Zeppelin and Physical Graffiti. Again, put your comments down below on this album, your memories of this album. Is this your favorite album? If not, then what is? Would you cut this down to a single disc release? And if so, what songs would you cut to make it a playable
Yeah.
uh, album to listen to?
Yep.
Okay. 82 minutes and 59 seconds is a hell of a long time to keep your attention and to listen to an album. So, would you keep it the same, or would you cut it in two, or would you just reduce it to a single? And if so, again, what songs? Let us know again in the comments below. I want to thank Ken for this episode and for joining me. We are coming back with episode 7 from next week, tackling the album Presence from 1976. A banger of an album. Please stay tuned for that. And again, please click like and subscribe. And do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we got coming up. And please follow us on X. We're now on X. All right. Please look after yourselves and one another. For the old curmudgeon, Ken Cheshire, I'm Armando Venditti, signing off. Have a great day. Bye for now.